Okay, two gaming news things I want to talk about this week. Sorry I missed last Wednesday. I was out sick. But the first thing I want to talk about is the possibility of Sony acquiring FromSoftware, the people behind Elden Ring. Yeah, really. So the rumor was going around, and now the fact that Sony is interested has been confirmed as official, at least, because FromSoftware is actually owned by a parent company, Kadokawa. They do a bunch of things. FromSoftware is only one of their things, but the parent company, Kadokawa, has confirmed that Sony has expressed interest in acquiring them with the letter of interest and essentially them looking to buy up the shares. So we know that it is a thing. Companies all the time put out feelers about acquisition. We know this from talking about Microsoft Xbox for years. So Sony may not be 100% like ready to go with this, but the fact that they expressed interest or possible intent is worth discussing. It's an interesting conversation. A lot of people have had a lot to say about it, so I wanted to jump in because there's so much to think about with this, right? Because first, everyone just thinks, oh my God, Bloodborne. Does this mean we're gonna get another Bloodborne? And I don't think the answer is as simple as people would expect. So the whole thing with Bloodborne is that everybody wants a piece of the pie, right? And it feels like with Sony technically owning the IP of Bloodborne, and Sony actually already having some financial investment into FromSoftware. Yes, Sony technically owns a 2% stake in Kadokawa already, but more importantly, they've had, and this has been known, a 14% stake in FromSoftware itself. Still, it wasn't enough for like a Bloodborne 2 or anything to happen. So while yes, like them completely merging and becoming a thing could grease the wheels of it happening, there's so many other angles to look at with that. I mean, the fact that Sony has the Bloodborne IP and has been sitting on it for so long to the point of never even updating Bloodborne. Of course, we've talked about that 1,000 times before, but what is it? Is Sony not pursuing another Bloodborne without FromSoftware because like there's some legal deal in there that we just don't know? Or have they just not had interest? Or maybe they're actually respecting FromSoftware and saying, no, only they can make it. I don't know, because I mean, we've gotten a full Demon Souls remaster from Sony. So I don't think they really care. I think there's more to it that maybe we don't know, but I don't know. I'm kind of scatterbrained with this, but that was the first thing I really wanted to tackle was the Bloodborne thing. I don't think it would immediately mean Bloodborne 2 greenlit right away because Sony sits on things. And that's really the skepticism for this for a lot of people that I do agree with, right? So Sony does tend to have a lot of IP and then not take advantage of it sometimes. And sometimes I don't know why. Is it the developers that don't want to do it anymore? Who knows? But like we've talked about it before, like the fact that they're not making any more Killzones, the fact that they're not making any more fucking Infamous, whatever. Like the list goes on and on and on, the amount of things that they have access to that we just don't see anymore. Is that developer focused? Is it them just being like, well, the developers don't want to make that anymore. They want to make something new. Or is there more to it? I don't know, but there's also the other aspect where it would go exclusive. Whatever FromSoftware would make under Sony has a possibility of going exclusive. We don't know if Sony would play it like Microsoft and just kind of put it everywhere. They don't care. I don't know. I think it would be like a FromSoftware game could end up being exclusive and then show up on PC eventually down the line, like how they've been doing with their first party exclusives. I don't know. I can't imagine a world where FromSoftware games are just on one thing. I know there are exceptions right now, but still. Really, I think what a long runabout way of trying to say, for me personally, like I think the way FromSoftware has been doing things seems to really be working for them. Every single game they've put out, every expansion they put out has been a really good ass thing. It's been financially successful for them. People have been loving it. Essentially, they've just been going around peddling their wares to whoever would support them. And I think that's worked. You know, they've had Bandai Namco help publish their things. They've had Sony help publish their things. They've had Activision help publish. Activision, of course, was behind Sekiro. So really, they're just kind of like the free-form people who just always manage to end up winning because they get to make exactly the type of game that they want to make. And they get to like just work with whoever will come around for them and help them out. And I think it's working out really right now, specifically because like you'd love every developer to have that level of freedom, right? But like the thing with FromSoftware is that every single one of their games seem to be massive, gigantic hits. And after Elden Ring, the elephant in the room, like the monumental shift, the influence that game has had, the impact on mainstream that game has had, the amount of money it has made, I don't know. I just feel like they want to continue having that choice and that freedom. But the one thing I do want to point out also is that it is not up to FromSoftware. It is up to their parent company. I mean, at least I would assume it was. I'm not a business guy, but I would assume that Kadokawa really is the ultimate say, and they would want to sell to Sony for a variety of other reasons other than just FromSoftware. Kadokawa has anime, manga, TV stuff, similar stuff that Sony has acquired before. So it's like almost like FromSoftware would only be the cherry on the pie. Maybe there's like the weird instance where they acquire Kadokawa for like all that other stuff. That's what they wanted. And then they kind of let FromSoftware safely still do their thing. Would that happen? I don't know. Again, I think the undeniable lull, the pull, the power of the success of Elden Ring means Sony would probably be gunning to have something like that in their portfolio. But as of right now, there's no official confirmation of an acquisition or a deal moving forward. Again, all we have official confirmation of is that Sony has expressed interest of acquiring Kadokawa, and Kadokawa has said, yes, they did hit us up. So I definitely want to know from you guys, like, maybe PlayStation fans would just be excited to have FromSoftware under their like roster if we're doing the console war stuff. But maybe if you're not, maybe if you play all your FromSoftware games on PC, you're probably really pissed. So I just want to know where your head's at with this, what you think, and also not only what you think, but what you're expecting to actually happen, what you think actually will go down. Again, if you're new here, welcome to Two Things, where every Wednesday I just talk about two gaming news topics I find interesting, something I want to dive into specifically, where the Friday news show on Game Ranks, I cover all the general news. Here's where I take two topics and I kind of dive and drill into it a little bit more. But the other thing I wanted to talk about this week is things getting better, things you own or things you buy into getting better over time. We've talked about it a million times with games being broken, you bought it, sucks, and then eventually it gets updated and it turns out good, like something like No Man's Sky. But today we're talking about a different aspect, and one I'm a little bit more open to, and that is two things from both Xbox and Sony. So Microsoft Xbox, as of today, the whole Xbox Game Pass, like cloud streaming thing that you've been able to do, now you're going to be able to stream select games that you actually own, like things that you own on Xbox, on your account. You're going to be able to stream those, not just the games that are like Microsoft deemed to be part of the Game Pass or whatever cloud streaming program. It's gotten convoluted over the years, but this is a big win for people. This is something people have been asking for a while, so it's cool to see it actually go down. From Xbox, starting today, we're excited to announce that we're allowing Game Pass Ultimate members to stream select games they own through TVs and browser on supported devices like smartphones, PCs, and tablets in all 28 countries where xCloud gaming beta is available. As of right now, 50 games are available. It seems like they're going to be adding more, but a lot of this is going to be dependent, I guess, on like publisher deals and agreements behind the scenes. But there's big stuff, Ubisoft games like Assassin's Creed Mirage, Frontiers of Pandora, a lot of Final Fantasy games, Star Wars Outlaws, Witcher 3, Visions of Mana, Space Marine 2. Like, it's not a bad list. It's a small list, but it's a good one. I'm just curious to see how big that will actually get over time, how much they can really invite platform holders or really publishers to let them do this. Still, I think if like you are an Xbox Game Pass person or you've been using the Xbox cloud streaming, the beta, that whole thing on your phone or whatever, your laptop, this is good. This is more. This is a value add to something that already exists. In this case, a service that you're already paying for. But the other thing I found interesting was that Sony is also changing things up a little bit, specifically with the PlayStation Portal. I got mine here. I dunked on this. I wasn't really in love with this device at first, I'll be totally honest. And over time, I found myself using it more and more because I like the build quality of it. I like the controller feel. And when I'm knocking out long things like a JRPG, like Metaphor, ReFantazio, like this has come in clutch when I'm just chilling on the couch or in bed. But the thing with this, and one of my biggest issues with this, was that this was bound to only do remote play, meaning you had to turn this thing on and then that would turn on your PlayStation 5 somewhere in your house, and then it would stream that PlayStation 5 to this. Now Sony is opening that up. They're changing that up. You're now going to be able to beta test cloud streaming to this thing, like cloud streaming that isn't tied to your PS5. It is, and I quote, select PS5 games from the PlayStation Plus game catalog. So again, it's another one where the platform holders, or really the publishers, are the ones who decide what is able to be streamed on this thing. But that is good. For me, the thing I bought that I've gradually recently enjoyed more and more now just got a feature set that is way more interesting to me. It can do more. So I am happy about that. The interesting thing with both of these, though, when you realize it, is the magic word, the services, right? Xbox, that whole thing is you have to have Game Pass Ultimate. Then here with PlayStation doing their own whole thing, you have to have PlayStation Plus Premium. So once again, this all comes down to services. And I still think there's a lot of power in services. These players, all these people, all these media companies, they want you to subscribe to things. They all want you to sign up and have recurring revenue guaranteed for a long ass period of time. So they're going to add things to make it more enticing. And this is an example this week. And I think it's interesting, especially because we've talked about Xbox and recently a lot in news and their change in direction. But ultimately, the thing that they stuck with that seems to make sense is the platform stuff, the service stuff, the Xbox Game Pass, and Sony now following suit with the PlayStation Plus Premium. The question is, of course, and it comes up a lot, but now I'm looking at it even more with both Xbox and with PlayStation, is when are those prices going to go up again? Because it just keeps happening and happening. We've had price increases for them, but I'm waiting to see when it gets to the point of like Netflix realm, like where now Netflix price has gone up so much that people are like, all right, this is fucking ridiculous, dude, I'm out. So I'm curious. Obviously everybody's wallet's different, but I'm curious to see when comes the point where Sony and Microsoft push it a little too far. Because if there's anything we know about video game companies, they push things a little too far often. Those are the two things I wanted to talk about this week, but I do have a bonus thing real quick for you. It's just a dumb thing I bought this week. Sorry. This is the Marvel Legends Norman Osborn Green Goblin helmet. I pre-ordered this thing a long ass time ago. I didn't think it was going to show up until like January or so, and it just showed up. And I don't buy a lot of these things. I don't buy like, X-Wing pilot helmets really anymore. I haven't bought any of the Marvel Legends, but I love Sam Raimi Spider-Man. You guys probably know that. If you haven't, check out the video. I'll link it in the description down below. I did a video about why I love Sam Raimi Spider-Man, but this thing is fucking awesome, okay? As someone who just like quotes Green Goblin on a constant basis, now I'm happy to just have a really surprisingly good quality helmet. Like, Norman's on sabbatical, honey. Am I right? Now, my review is just honestly that, yeah, it's pretty premium. It's got the mesh, so you can, it's got the mesh here. You can't see my mouth through it like in the movie, which is unfortunate, but the eyes, the everything, it's actually comfortable on the inside, so I can just exist in this helmet. But really, I just put it on my cool office chair, like how Norman had it in the movie or something. Can I kiss it? No, I shouldn't do that. No. Okay. Well, anyway, I should go. That was two things. So let me know what you think this week about the gaming news. If you're going to start using your PlayStation Portal more, are you happy about that? Are you a Game Pass subscriber who's going to be streaming some random games you own now? Also, like I said, what do you think about FromSoftware getting acquired by Sony? A lot to talk about. So let me know what you think. Thank you for being here. If you like what I'm doing here, I'm just talking about stuff I love, stuff I find interesting. That's it. Clicking a like button helps me. Thank you. But as always, I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games, pizza's on me.